Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone and Woolwell. And peace and citation to you, Lakaki, across the four corners of this earth, keeping this word in sincerity and truth. I got the brother Kalab with me, and the brother Sha'ar, from the Great Millstone Dallas camp. And we're just going to go into a few scriptures, just going into preaching this gospel and how we're supposed to be in holy conversation. All right, it's crazy. We did this lesson, it was about 30 minutes long, but Satan had cut the phone off, so we're going to redo this. Lord willing, it's edifying. But I'm going to start off in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16. And it reads, "For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel." Now, Paul was pretty much saying it's needful for me to preach this gospel. You know, woe unto me, destruction unto me if I don't do it. And ultimately, we know what's going to come at the end of the day if we preach not this gospel. You know, we're going to be wood to the fire. Okay, so as you go into this word, necessity, we're going to pull it up really quick. Come on. We'll go to this word in Greek. And it is, hold on one second. That word there is anake, and it says necessity imposed either by the circumstances. And that's what we're put in right now. We're put in difficult circumstances. We're in straits right now to preach this gospel. We're put in these circumstances to want to preach the gospel because we know what's going to come to this place at the end of the day. We had our Lord Yahweh Shai, who has made a living example on how to do it. And he had told us to preach this gospel. That's a commandment. That's why Paul said, "Woe unto me if I preach not the gospel." Okay? It says, "Or by law of duty, regarding to one man's advantage." Is this not a duty? Is this not our reasonable service? This is a reasonable service to do this, okay? Absolutely, it's profession. It says, or by law. Or by law, right? When you go into Psalms, he talks about to meditate on the precepts. That's a commandment. He commanded us, saying that in Psalms 119, and we'll go to it, Lord willing. But it says, or by law of duty, regarding to one's advantage, custom, argument. And that's what we're doing right now. We're stressing, we're arguing the claim of Yahweh Shai. All right. It says calamity, distress, or straits. Again, we're in this circumstance, like it says up here, when we're in distress, we're in calamity, we're in straits right now. Okay. So why not preach this gospel? It's not hard. It's different ways you can do it. You know, it's plenty of ways you can do it. Like, we're in the age of information right now. What helps me out, and I can attest for myself when I say this, and I'm pretty sure other brothers have their own testimonies that they can say about teaching it. But what helps me out, I'll write precepts down in my scriptures. And when I write the precepts down, that's a lesson. You know, Genesis 27, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, Esau's beginning of the world, in the world, Jacob's the beginning and follow it. That's a lesson right there to go into. You know, you can even do it on a quick little scripture, Jeremiah 16:16. That's the spirit. That's the spirit, brother.
The lessons ain't gotta be long, bro. As long as it's edifying to, you know what I'm saying, who you preaching to the elect, bro. You ain't gotta do no 30-minute lesson. You know, it can be, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. As long as it's edifying, man, just preach the gospel.
That's right. That's all we're supposed to do. Is to teach, to preach this gospel, to be in holy conversation. To do what Yahweh Shai told us to do through the spirit of his Father. And one of them is to preach the gospel. Okay? And again, it says in straits, because we're in straits right now. The Lord put us in a position where we're physically afflicted or mentally afflicted. Okay? We're chastised every day, but that's because he loves us. And also, too, he don't want us to be comfortable down here because we know that we have rest coming soon. That being the case, I'm going to go to a quick precept really quick. And it's going to be in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, "And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, where was given to me a thorn in the flesh." Now, we don't know exactly the thorn in the flesh he was talking about, but we have multiple examples of us having thorns in the flesh. Job had thorns in his flesh. Yahweh Shai was acquainted with grief. So if the Spirit's on you, you're going to have that thorn in your flesh, because when we went into that word necessity in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16, it says straits, afflicted, hardships pretty much. So we're going to have whatever thorn it is in our flesh. But that should make us want to go hard and continue to teach this gospel, to continue to preach, continue to do the work, because nobody else is doing it. A lot of guys are scoffing, being demons. So it really truly shows you who the men of the Lord are. But when the spirit leaves you and you end up being like, I can't do it no more, these guys keep talking about us, or I don't think the spirit's dealing with me no more, or I got children now, I can't do the work because I got other stuff to do, woe unto you. Destruction, you know? And it says, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. And when you go to that word buffet, it means to strike. Because Satan's trying to strike us down. Satan's trying to sift us as wheat. Like Yahushua told Peter, Satan's trying to sift you, but I've prayed for you. He prayed for his elect, so Satan wouldn't do that. So we didn't get out of the mindset of Yahushua, so we could continue to teach this gospel while we're in this current world right now, while we're in this current state. Okay? These scriptures are used to motivate us. These are instructions. This is truth. We should be willing to do this. We should want to do this, because as we went in 1 Corinthians, the 9th chapter, when you go to the next verse, he talks about this being pretty much, wanting to do this. Okay, this word shouldn't be a burden to us at all, period. If it's a burden to us, that's fallout material. Okay, it says, least shall be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. So Satan trying to buffet you, these unclean spirits trying to buffet you and teaching this doctrine, what we got to do, we got to besought or beg or pray or find the Lord or do this work more. Because he said thrice. Does it literally mean 3 times? No, but even when you go to the book of Baruch, it talks about us to seek the Most High 10 times or 10,000 times more. That's like Paul saying, I besought the Lord thrice. And how did he beseech the Lord thrice? He did the work. He amplified his ministry. He preached. He taught. Exactly. That was a man that was persuaded in his own mind. That's why I said through the fear of the Most High, we persuade men. Okay? And we can only be, there's plenty of scripture to go into it, But that's what he meant when he said that. All right? You got a precept? Okay. Khan. I got another scripture I'm going to go into. No, it's all good, brother. If you want to speak, do your thing. We got Sirach chapter 39, verse 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof. These are words that stand out. Okay? Because it says to be occupied in it. When you're occupied in something, you're full-fledged in it. You're doing it currently. You're in the process of doing it. Okay? It says, and occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecy. Is not the testimony of Yahushua, the spirit of prophecy? Absolutely. We need to be occupied in this truth. Occupied in what Moses said. Occupied in what Joshua said. Occupied in what Aaron said. Isaiah, Jeremiah. Ultimately what Yahushua said, because we know he comes in the volume of the book. And that's the spirit of prophecy. And we're supposed to teach the stuff that we learn as we're occupied in this truth. As we're learning gradually. As we're learning continually. We're supposed to continue to teach what we learn. What does it look like putting a candle under the bed, like Yahushua said? He said, place that candle on top of a hill. Preach the gospel. Preach the gospel. Verse 2 says, he will keep the sayings of renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. And what's a parable? That's an enigma or a riddle. It says he will be there also. Because the more you're occupied in this word, the more you teach it, the more you read it, you're going to understand those parables, and you're going to want to continue to teach it so other people, members of the elect, can understand those parables. Yahushua said it at Matthew the 9th chapter. He said the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. With the laborers being few, the few laborers that there are supposed to preach this gospel, so to be more laborers. Those few laborers are supposed to be occupied in prophecy, being conversing in dark parables, all of the above, being in all holy conversation. All right. Verse 4 says, he shall serve among great men. So another thing to learn this word, we have to be taught by men. We have to. It ain't going to be no spirit that's going to fall from this angel that's going to come from the sky, land down and be like, this is what this breakdown is talking about. All right. Now, were there scenarios that happen? Absolutely. You can read Ezra. OK, but I can guarantee you all these guys that scoffing, saying that you don't need men to teach you. I guarantee you that situation's never happened to any of them. And the scriptures strictly tells us that we're going to have to learn this from men. We're going to have to be taught this. Like Paul said, be followers of me as I am a follower of Yahushua Mashiach. Okay, one sec. It says, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he hath tried the good and evil among men. Now, as I jump back to verse 3, it says, he will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. Let's go to this word conversant really quick. All right, conversant. When you go to this word conversant, I use Etymology Explorer. It says closely familiar. We're supposed to be closely familiar with this word, all right, with these breakdowns, understanding the gospel, all right. Current, having frequent interaction. Familiar or acquainted by use or study. Does it not say study to show thyself approved like you said earlier? You know, well informed, well versed. Okay, so the more you're occupied in this word, when you teach, when you preach this gospel, you will be well versed. But you have to meditate on these words. You have to be sincere. You have to be diligent in order to do this, because that shows the Spirit of the Lord dealing with you. All right. It says concerned or occupied, like we just read, to be occupied in prophecy. You know, all these scriptures link up to one another, but the Spirit has to be dealing with you to understand. And what we're witnessing right now amongst Israel is a spirit of folly, where it's that do what thou wilt vibration going on amongst our people. And I'm saying this with people that's so-called in the truth. They want to do what they want to do. You don't need to learn from nobody. Teach what you want to teach. All you got to do is make exposed videos, and it's good. That's not what Yahushua said. Yahushua said, feed my sheep. When you feed somebody something, you're not only going to feed them chicken. You're going to have to feed them chicken, carrots, broccoli, quinoa, rice, what all of it is to complete that meal. A lot of these people feel like that's all they got to do is make exposed videos, when these exposed videos aren't valid anyway. You got to eat the whole roll, man. Okay? And before, I just want to go to this one. This is converser. This is old French for a conversant. And it says to converse, discuss, talk, speak. When you're preaching, you're discussing, talking, you're speaking. Okay? That's what your conversation is filled with, all holy things. That's why he said, woe unto me if I preach, which is discuss, speak, or talk, not this gospel. So we have a clue on what we're supposed to be doing right now. The tools were given to us. We just got to utilize those tools. And if you feel like you don't got it, you feel like you can't preach all like that, or you feel like you don't have the right resources to be able to do these sit downs or teach, pray. Like it says in James, if you pray for wisdom, the Most High is going to give you wisdom. Even in Matthew 7, even in Matthew the 7th chapter, pray and you shall be given. The Most High is not gonna give you what you want. He's gonna give you what you need. And if it's pursuing to this work, He's gonna give it to you. Like even when you go to Matthew the 7th chapter, Yahushua talks about evil fathers that still reward their sons with things. So what would the Most High do? He's a great father. So if you're doing the right work, He's gonna definitely give you way more than what an evil father's gonna give his son. Shows how much He loves us. So if you feel like you don't got it, or feel like you don't have the right resources, or you don't got the juice, pray for it. You got to be sincere about it. It's that simple, because again, we're going to keep saying it. Paul said, woe unto me if I preach not this gospel. So that's something we're supposed to be doing right now. All right, go ahead. You got a precept?
This is Mark 16 and 15.
Mark 16 and 15.
And he said unto them, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. And he was saying, man, that's when Yahushua was speaking. He was saying that, telling the disciples, go ye into the world and preach to every creature, man. That's what we got to do. We got to preach this word, whether they hear it or not. We got to do the work, man.
That's right. And if they don't receive it, kick the dust off our feet, keep it moving, and keep preaching. It don't mean give up. As soon as you give up, that's fuel to the fire, man. That's your destruction. And again, it's supposed to be a pleasure to us to do this. You know, when you do this work, you're supposed to have a mindset of the water Yahushua that you put me in an opportunity. You gave Salaki, you gave me the opportunity to be able to profess your name and teach this doctrine. You know, because not too many other people had this opportunity. You know, a lot of these people scoffing, talking mess, walking past you. The Lord gave us this opportunity to do that. Okay? And that's the beautiful thing about it. All right. There's a precept in Psalms 37. Did you have it already? Psalms 37. Go ahead, brother.
This is Psalms 37 and 4. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. And when you go into that word delight, man, it means of dainty habit. You know what I'm saying? So when we get into these scriptures, we got to make getting into these scriptures of dainty habit. We got to make understanding, of dainty habit, man. And, when we do that, the Lord will give us the desires of our heart, man. The desire of your, what heart means, the mind. And we should have our mind set on the kingdom, man.
That's beautiful, brother. That's beautiful, man. Delight thyself also in the Lord. When you delight yourself in the Lord, when you delight doing His work, when you feel like it's not a burden to you, He's going to give us what we need, because He already gave us the tools to do it, like was mentioned earlier. He gave us the tools to do this. He gave us the opportunity. We know we got a kingdom coming. We know we have a city being built for a city being placed for us. Okay, we're searching for a city. We're searching for rest. Delighting in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. He's going to give us all of that and the above. Okay? So why not preach the gospel? It's a commandment, right?
All right.
It's a commandment. All right? And then when you go to verse 5, it says, commit thy way unto Yahweh. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring thee to pass. He shall bring it to pass. Salakia. So when you commit your way into the Lord, let's go to this word really quick. That word there is galad in the Hebrew. Galah. One second. And it says to roll away, to flow down. Let's go to the root. There's no root on here. But pretty much, hey, we know what it means when it says commit thy way unto Yahweh. All right, you're supposed to be committed unto the Lord. And when you commit, when you're delighted in His works and you're committed, He's going to give you what you need. He's going to give you the spiritual tools to be able to preach this doctrine, to preach this gospel. I got a quick precept, really quick. All right. He gave us precepts to be able to do this. Again, the more precepts you find, that's a lesson. Ways to teach, ways to preach this gospel. Psalms 119:4, it says, thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. This is a commandment for us to do this, to preach this gospel. All right? When you go into this word precept, that word there in the Hebrew is pakwal, the yad. And it in the root of it, it says to attend. All right, we're supposed to attend to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We're supposed to attend our ears to the scriptures, to what this word is. All right, to observe, to pay attention, to seek, to look out, to seek in vain. Is that not to watch? Okay, that's why it says, woe unto them who are settled on their leaves. When you go to Zephaniah, woe unto them if you settle on your leaves, you ain't preaching, you ain't watching, you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's a commandment, and when you don't follow His commandments, what does it mean? You can get put to death. It's that simple. These people that's going to die when Yahushua comes back, it's going to be because they didn't, when I say this, I mean people, but mainly I'm talking about you jakes. It's going to be because you didn't follow the commandment the Heavenly Father instructed you to do. And a key instruction that He wanted us to do, being men of the Lord, is to preach. Okay, to feed the flock, to feed the sheep. Because there's still sheep that's scattered out here, and the only way for them to be found is for Yahushua's voice to be called out to him. And Yahushua said, my sheep hear my voice. And how was His voice called out? Through the men of the Lord.
We got, like you said at first, we got to read, man. We can't preach if we haven't studied and read what the Lord have given us, man, which is these scriptures, man.
That's right. You got a precept? Kind of. Revelation. Gone.
This is Revelations 1:3. Blessed he that readeth, and they that hear the word of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. We gotta, he said, blessed he that readeth, man, and hear the words of this prophecy. So we gotta read, man. Like the brother Yahshua always say, that's the Lord supping with us when we read, man. It said the time is at hand. So if you're not getting into these scriptures and reading, bro, and trying to and seeing what the Lord is about to do, man, you're gonna get caught up in that fire. The time is at hand.
That's right, brother. Yeah, the time is at hand. That's beautiful. I got a quick precept going into that, since you had said that, and this is Luke chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 37, okay? And it says, blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when He cometh, shall find watching, preaching, doing what you're supposed to be doing, being in all holy conversation. Okay, it says, verily I say unto you, that He shall gird Himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if He shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. So that's why we're supposed to consistently, continually be meditating on His word. We're supposed to want to preach this gospel, because the more you want to preach it, the more you will actually do it. But when you feel like it's a burden for you, you're not going to do it as much. And a lot of jakes end up falling out because of that. You know?
I got stuff to do, man. Like I said, I got a wife now. I got children, man, a newborn. So you got to do this work, man.
That's right. The work. Yeah, that's right, brother. The work comes first. It comes first, bro. And it says, "In this know that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would came, he would have watched and not suffered his house to be broken into." If you know when the Lord's going to come back, that means they can bullshit all their life, procrastinate, and then he know when he's going to come back. Okay, now it's time to do this work. That's why he's going to come like a thief. He's going to catch you slipping. He wants to see who's really about this business, because this is a business. That's what this is. This is a business, and the more you labor, you're investing in stock. What's the stock? It's the spiritual money to receive this kingdom, to receive this city full of all good things that's being built for us spiritually.
Right, like if you're at work and you just chilling out and your boss walk in, you see how you straighten up when your boss walk in? Oh, like you're doing something. That's how they trying to be, man. But we don't know the time. You're going to come like a thief in the night. When your boss sneak up on you, bro, it's a wrap. But if you in there chilling, you bullshitting, when your boss sneak up on you, you fired.
That's right, brother.
That's how the Most High going. I mean, that's how y'all by some y'all shot gonna do. You're gonna come like a thief in the night, bro, and it's gonna catch y'all off guard, and bro, if you ain't doing the work, you're gonna get destroyed, bro.
That's right, bro. That's a good point. You know, if you're at work, let's say you're a manager of a household, because we're managers of the household, we're stewards. If you're a manager of the household, shouldn't, when you're at work, your conversation be of what's concerning the business of the job? You know, you're supposed to always be talking about the business of the job. This is no different. This is no different. Right. This is more important. So why would you choose your physical job, having your conversation being full of stuff at that job, and not your spiritual job, which is the more important job that's required to get out of here? Right. You know? Again, that's why he's gonna come as a thief in the night. A lot of Jake likes to procrastinate. You know, and again, if you feel like you don't have the juice, you don't have the wisdom, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have what's required to do this work or to preach this gospel, that's where prayer's involved at. That's something that we're supposed to do. That's a commandment. Pray without cease. Pray that you in more holy conversation with it, because the day is at hand, like we just read beautifully in the last verse we just read. Okay? And that was in Mark what?
It was
Mark 13?
Yeah.
I believe it was Mark 13, okay? But I'm going to end it off on this scripture here. It's like I didn't mean to go to Revelation. I'm going to end it off in 2 Peter chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 10. It says, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night," like we just read in Luke the 12th chapter, "in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing this, that all these things shall be dissolved," so we know that everything's going to be dissolved. Everything's going to be destroyed. Paul said, "Woe unto me, destruction or war, if I preach not this gospel." If you ain't teaching this gospel, if you ain't sincere, if you ain't doing the work, you're going to be part of that category. Just like we read in Luke 12 chapter, he said, "Blessed are those servants that shall, when I come, shall be watching." And that goes into teaching, exhorting brothers, doing what you're doing, being full of all holy conversation. Because we know we just went into that word conversation when we read Sirach, the 39th chapter. Okay? We're supposed to be conversant in this thing, meditating on this prophecy, meditating on what's to come, meditating on this word. And the more you meditate on it, the more you learn it, the more you're occupied in it, you get to teach about it and you preach about it. And more fruit will come in and be occupied, meditate therein, and want to preach this gospel. More laborers will come in to tend to the harvest. Okay? Verse 11 says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness?" So we're supposed to be in holy conversation, like we just read the definition of. And let's go to this word conversation and the strophe in the Greek. All right?
Strong's G391. Anastrophe.
All right. So it says manner of life, conduct, how you conduct yourself in this truth, behavior, deportment. If you conduct yourself with discipline, you will be worthy to be his disciple.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And what were the disciples doing? They were preaching the gospel. They were in holy conversation. Because again, let's go to this word really quick again. This goes to the root in Old English, conversare, and it means to discuss, talk, or speak. To preach this gospel. It says, what manner of men shall we be in all holy conversation? If we're not teaching this gospel, we're going to be part of that category that's going to get burnt in this nuclear destruction. You know, was you about to say something?
It said holy conversation. That word holy means separate. Bro. We're not talking about the same thing. You got to talk about the truth, man. Everybody else ain't talking about this, man. Like you said, other people ain't got the pleasure to know the truth, man. You separate from that, man. You got to keep your conversation separate from that, bro.
That's right, brother. That's beautiful. Like we read in Psalms 37:4, we have to desire in the Lord, man. When you desire in the Lord, you're desiring in all of his ways, what he had told us to do. We're supposed to want to do this. This shouldn't have to be a burden. If it's a burden to you, this ain't what it is. If you feel like, oh shoot, I have to put up the second video. Oh shoot, I have to. You should want to. You should want to do the work. It was on the spirit of Apostle Tahar to make that decree. Just being out there, just being honest. Because as soon as he did that, you see so much more fruit coming in. So much more videos, so many more videos coming out. So many of them. Every day it's 50 plus videos coming out, and that's only what the alerts I get on my phone.
It goes to show you though that who wants to do the truth and who doesn't.
That's right.
Because if you willingly do it, you put up videos. If it's a burden on you find excuses why you don't have videos. You've
That's
been in
right.
the truth for 2 years and you got 3 videos on your account.
That's right.
You know, but that just goes to show you when he put that decree out, who wanted to do the truth and who didn't.
That's right. That's right. Who wanted to be occupied? Who wanted to be occupied in prophecy? Who wanted to be of holy conversation? Because a lot of people that don't want to have holy conversation. They'll claim they do. They give awesome lip service, but like Yahweh said, many shall say, Lord, Lord, and he shall say, I have not known you, you workers of iniquity. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. Exactly. That's how it's going to be. So we need to pray that we continue on this straight path.
That's right.
So we don't end up being in that category. All right? You know, because that could happen to any of us. But if the Lord's dealing with you, if you're sincerely doing this thing, continue praying that you enter not into temptation, you won't be part of that category.
Right.
And he will give you that holy conversation that you've longed for. All right? But with that being the case, Lord, it was edifying. Want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and salutation to you, like the Akim, kicking this word of sincerity and truth. Man up. Shalom.